It's time to take a look inside ECSU Mighty Vikings Basketball. This is Vikings Coaches Show on WRVS 89.9.
Coming to you from WRVS-FM studios on the campus of ECSU. This is Vikings Coaches Show, first one of the month of December. I'm Clay Mercer, and we're ready to talk Mighty Vikings basketball with ECSU Hall of Famer head coach Shawn Walker. Now, listeners, remember, you can have your questions answered by Coach Walker. Just send us an email to WRVSFM@gmail.com or reach us on Twitter at WRVS899. Coach Walker, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, with no show last week, this is our first time back since the holiday break. Not much of a break for you and the fellas, but how was your Thanksgiving holiday overall?
It was a short holiday, almost non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
We worked through the holiday, but that's what college basketball brings. When you decide to get in to college athletics, holidays are non-existent particularly during the regular season. So we're very happy to have had a chance to share with our family some and share with the players and be here at work.
Definitely. Well, Coach, since our last show has been a difficult stretch for our Mighty Vikings, dropping 3 of their last 4, including losses to USC Aiken and at Chowan. But we want to focus on the past 2 games, starting with an ECSU win over CIAA Southern Division foe Claflin this past Monday in the Vaughn Center. Now, midway through the first half, the Vikings stretched their lead out to double digits, assisted by junior forward John Maynor. He went 3 for 6 from long distance, and ECSU was also helped out in the scoring in the paint. They did a pretty good job before Claflin ended the half on a 13-4 run to tighten the gap at halftime, 27-25. Coach, it seemed like a tale of 2 halves in 1 half, so to speak.
Yes, we got off to a really good start against Claflin, and obviously John made a few shots, but we were able to get stops and get out in transition and gather some easy buckets. And then Claflin made a minor adjustment and went to a 1-3-1 zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe we went 8 or 9 minutes and didn't score. I think we were up 23-8 or something like that.
A little bit of a drought.
And then we went on to a major drought, which is some of the things that we do oftentimes. So we went into a time where we threw the ball away, didn't get quality shots at the basket, and just didn't play well for just a couple minutes. And we're very lucky to be up 2 points, I believe, at the half.
I believe so, too. And the Vikings will start the second half with a couple of dunks by junior center Tajay Byers. But Claflin would also pick up their scoring in the paint as their big man Austin Lawton poured in 13. The rest of the half would be a tight affair, a little bit of a back-and-forth type thing with Claflin taking a 3-point lead around the 8-minute mark. But it wouldn't last long as the Vikings used a timely 3-pointers from Maynor and an efficient 15-19 effort from the free throw line to defeat Claflin 77-69. Now, Coach, your senior guard, Shai Petaway, scored 16 second-half points and went 11 for 12 from the free throw line. That sounds pretty good, and after only scoring 4 in the first half, he really asserted himself after halftime.
Well, we really need him to play well for us to have a chance to win. When he doesn't turn the ball over and he's attacking the basket, he's a really good player. Right now, he is really trying to decipher what it is that I want from him on a night-to-night basis, and sometimes it seems that he plays not to make a mistake. But he's a really good player, and we're counting on him to play well. And when he does play well, and the 2 games that he has played well, we have won. So we're looking forward to him continuing to improve, and along with the remainder of the team, and hopefully we can figure out how to get on a winning track.
Definitely. To see the Vikings keep their focus in a tight game and pull away had to make you feel really good about this team's potential.
It's just good to get a win. We've had some dark moments in terms of games where we've been really, really down, but we've played relatively well at home. So it was really good to get a win. And anytime our players are happy about the outcome of a game, as a coach, makes us happy.
Definitely. ECSU would have a 3-5 record heading into their next game. And when we return, we'll talk about Tuesday's battle with Catawba and look ahead to next week's matchup. Stay with us. You're listening to Vikings Coaches Show on WRVS 89.9.
Get your tickets now to see the Mighty Vikings in action online at ECSUVikings.com.
WRVS 89.9 needs the support from listeners like you to keep this radio station on the air. consider making a tax-deductible donation online at ecsu.edu/WRVS. It's quick and easy to make a donation with your credit or debit card. It only takes a short time to keep us on the air for a long time. Support WRVS 89.9 today.
Welcome back to Vikings Coaches Show. I'm Clay Mercer, and with me is ECSU men's basketball head coach Shawn Walker. Now, listeners, don't forget, we need you to support the Mighty Vikings at the 2019 CIAA Basketball Tournament, February 25th through March 2nd in Charlotte. Tickets and more information available online at theciaa.com. And, Coach, you're back at the CIAA Tournament. I'm sure you've been back a few times, but now you're back as a head coach. It's got to be a wonderful feeling to get back at the tournament as a head coach of ECSU.
Absolutely. I had a chance to spend a day each of the years that I was away. 2014, I spent a day, and 15, 16, and then last year I was there for the better part of the tournament. So still exciting event. I had a chance to enjoy it for 3 years, and I'm hoping that obviously my positioning will be a little different this time, but I'm hoping to be able to enjoy it this year in a different capacity.
Yeah, it'll be so much more enjoyable if the Vikings can win, and get to that championship.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens. And, Coach, we've been talking about the past couple of games. Let's move into the second game of choice here. And after the win over Claflin on Monday, the Vikings were right back in action the next night against Catawba, a non-conference rematch with the team played back on November 17th in Salisbury. Now, we won't talk too much about the first game. Turnovers and about 17 offensive rebounds by Catawba helped them win that game with less than 24 hours to prepare. How did you feel about the team's morale heading into this game?
Well, the team's morale was relatively good. It's, we're playing 2 nights back to back does prepare us for tournament play. But at this time of the year, it's really difficult, and particularly facing an opponent like Catawba. Catawba's one of the top teams in the country. They haven't been ranked yet, but they have one overtime loss to UNC Pembroke, who's a top 10 team in the country that we'll see next week. And Catawba's is a really, really, really good team. So it was not ideal to play 2 nights back to back, particularly during exam time. But that's what the schedule presented to us. And, it taught us a valuable lesson. We have to be ready to play no matter what the circumstance.
A good crowd on hand at the Vaughn Center for the Tuesday night matchup. Shaid will score the first 2 points of the game, but offensively, the Vikings will have a difficult first half, so to speak. Catawba would open up an 18-point lead late and had ECSU down by 16 at the half. Now, Coach, the Indians will score 10 points off of 12 turnovers by the Vikings, and most of those turnovers can be attributed to lack of focus more so than Catawba's defense.
Yeah, it's been a real problem for us this year. We turn the ball over. Now, Catawba's very physical. They're big and strong. We actually had guys to leave the game. Both of the times we played them with injuries. But we've got to take care of the basketball a lot better than we do. We're giving up live ball turnovers, and as I say to our players, a lot of times those turnovers just don't make any sense. We can't even really understand what's going on. Right. So that's a part of what we're working on a day-to-day basis, just to become a better team. And when you turn the ball over 12 times in a half and 18, 19, 20 times in a game, the outcome normally is pretty consistent to be you being on the downside, and particularly when you live ball turning the ball over, when you turn it over and the other team gets to go down the floor and score without a defense being able to guard. So we certainly were not at our best on Tuesday night. Obviously, Catawba had a lot to do with that, but I would expect for us to play better. We were very disappointed in the performance that we had in front of our home crowd, and been talking about it and talked about it at halftime and talked about it after the game, and just got to play better overall. Yeah,
speaking of halftime, a much better showing by ECSU after halftime, with John Maynard scoring 19 of his 20 points in the second half. The Indians would extend their lead to 25 before the Vikings fought back to cut it down to 12 right around the 8-minute mark, and that was the closest ECSU would get, as Catawba would go on a quick 6-0 run and finish the half strong to win the game 68-51. Now, Coach, the second of back-to-back games may have affected the team, but 21 turnovers, as you stated before as a stat that I'm sure you're not happy with at all.
Oh man, listen, we cut the lead to 12, 8 minutes. We had plenty of time. We were in good shape. We turned the ball over 3 consecutive times that took us from 12 to 18. And as I'm saying to our guys, you know, those are momentum backbreakers. Yeah. Those are what they are, and I'm talking about their unforced turnovers. They're turnovers that don't make a lot of sense. So, you know, we're certainly got to get better. And at the end of the day, you know, coaches are responsible for all things that happen bad. And so, as a coach, we've got to figure out. I've got to figure out how to coach them better so we don't turn the ball over 21 times.
That's right.
And so I'm not happy about it. I'm losing sleep about this turnover thing and. Our consciousness to protect the basketball. So we hope that this season's a long one and that we're going to get better and be much better for this coming into February and March.
You talked about some of the offensive droughts that may happen, and some of your offensive struggles can be attributed to not having the services of sophomore Zach Hobbs, who has missed the last 5 games due to injury. We talked about this before we even started the show, so let's go ahead and get into a little bit of an injury report. Give us an update on his progress, when we can expect him to return, and some of the other bumps that some of the players have on him right now.
Yeah, well, Zach Hobbs is important. If you look at our stat sheet, he's averaging 17.9 points or 16.9 points. So we certainly feel the fact that he is not there, but it gives us an opportunity to have some other guys play a significant amount of minutes and get some experience for quality depth purposes. Zach has a knee strain. He probably could play and have played in the last couple of games, but this is a long season. We don't want him hurting throughout the course of the year. So I have opted to not allow him to play. He's kind of itching to get back out there, but I want him healthy when we get into February.
Very much, yeah. That's the important part.
January and February. So it's possible that he could play this week, but the rest has really helped him. Tuesday night we got Shaheed Petaway has a broken nose. And so we're hoping that he won't have to have any surgery or anything like that, and we can get him a mask and he can play. Obviously, the Christmas break will help him heal with the 4 to 6 weeks. Joseph Allen had a dislocated nose on Tuesday night. He says he's going to be fine. And Tajay Byers has a finger cut that he got 5 stitches. So we're a little banged up. Catawba is a very physical team. One of the things that we need to improve on in our level of competition and competing against teams like that. But I'm hoping we'll heal. We're able to have a couple of days off. We'll play on next Tuesday, so we've got some time and 3 games left for the first half, and then we'll go home for Christmas for 7 days, come back and get ready for a strenuous conference slate. Hopefully our Vikings can heal up pretty quickly as they're back in action this Tuesday as they welcome University of North Carolina at Pembroke to the Vaughn Center. It's another non-conference matchup, but a chance to get better against a really, really good team. What can we expect from the Braves? As the head coach, I have not spent a lot of time on UNC Pembroke as of yet because we have so many things that we need to do to get better. So I have accustomedly waited until the time that we really need to hone in on UNC Pembroke or any opponent so that we can kind of correct the things and clean up the things that we need to clean up as a team. As we mentioned, how we can take care of the ball, how we can rebound the ball better, those things. But I can tell you that UNC Pembroke is a top 15 team in the country. They will be a very, very large load for us to deal with on Tuesday. They may be the best opponent that we have faced, and that's a large margin. UNC Pembroke lost to Barton by 3 points. Barton was number 20 in the country at that time. UNC Pembroke beat Catawba in overtime by 2 points. Catawba's 9-1. Pembroke's 8-1. Barton's lost 1 time. They were undefeated until they just lost to Shaw in overtime. Wow. So we have our hands completely full with Pembroke. But at the same time, we've been here before. And I'm more concerned right now with the way we're going to play. Win, lose, or draw. I'm concerned with us looking more organized and not throwing the ball away 21 times to the other team. Yeah. I'm looking for us to at least offensively look like we know what we're supposed to do on offense, so that we can get a good shot. Mm-hmm. And if we can get a good shot, then we'll make more than we miss. Mm-hmm. We're not there yet. So once we can get to that point, then we'll be able to compete with anybody. I mean, so Pembroke's going to be a large handful, a large task for us, but we're going to look forward to the challenge. We're going to show up. We're going to compete, and they put their pants on just the way we do, and we'll compete and try to win.
Yeah, I know, Coach, you and the coaching staff are working on that and getting the team right where they need to be. Tip-off for Tuesday's game is 7 p.m., and all of you listeners are invited to the Vaughn Center to support the Mighty Vikings. You can get tickets now online at ECSUVikings.com. Coach, again, thank you so much for talking Mighty Vikings basketball with us, and we'll see you next week.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Now, listeners, stay tuned. Coming up next, we'll talk Lady Vikings basketball with head coach Antonio Davis and a special guest. This is Vikings Coaches Show on WRVS 89.9.
Get your tickets now to see the Mighty Vikings in action online at ECSUVikings.com.
This is ECSU Spotlight. The Department of Health and Physical Education prepares students for professional careers related to physical activity, recreation, and sports program management. Programs offered include physical education, teaching, and sports management with concentrations such as sports science and aquatic and fitness. Scholarships are awarded for qualifying students through the University Scholarship Program. To learn more about the Department of Health and Physical Education, go online to www.ecsu.edu.
Basketball fans, welcome back to Vikings Coaches Show. I'm Clay Mercer, and now I have the pleasure of talking with ECSU Lady Vikings head basketball coach Antonio Davis. Coach Davis, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Clay. It's always a pleasure being here.
I love this because today you brought a special guest with us, and you might as well go ahead and introduce her to the listeners.
Well. We've got Daphnie Johnson.
Yes, indeed.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're on the show today. This is going to be good.
I am ecstatic. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a pleasure to have her here.
It really is.
She's my left hand, right arm, left arm, right leg, left
what
leg.
You say? Watch out.
She's everything to our program.
Listeners, you are in for a good show here today. We're going to have a lot of fun. Our Lady Vikings, just to get us started off the month of December with the victory over Virginia University of Lynchburg, 72-45. An offensive explosion from ECSU with 44 points in the first half, led by freshman guard Angel James, 13. Coach, she was 4 or 5 from the field in the first half. 3 of those came from long distance. A lot of potential from the player out of Newport News.
Certainly. Angel is one of our talented freshmen that we were fortunate enough to bring in. Been kind of slow start for her in the preseason, getting acclimated to the speed of the game at the college level. Certainly she broke out that game for the first one, so we were very excited. And the fans got an opportunity to see the potential that Angel has. Yeah. Shot the 3 ball, got to the basket, made a lot of plays. So very, very talented young lady, and we look for her to continue to grow and contribute to our team.
Definitely. And second half saw less scoring from both teams.
Sure.
And while neither team shot the ball well overall, the Lady Vikings will go on to win by 28. ECSU junior Devon Estelle had a game-high 18 points in that contest. Coach, strong efforts from Devo will help this team reach its goals this year. I'm sure you agree with that.
Certainly. Devo is one of the potentially better post players in our league. Big kid, really strong in the post. We were looking for her and had the potential to be a great rebounder as well. She had a good ball game for us, trying to get the ball to her on the inside and take advantage of her size. But wonderful young lady, works very hard, very coachable, does everything we ask her to do. So we're looking for her to continue to have a good year.
The Lady Vikings couldn't celebrate too long as Claflin rolled into the Vaughn Center 2 days later. It was the first CIAA conference matchup for ECSU, and the energy in the building seemed a little different from the past few games. Did you feel a difference in the team heading into this contest?
Sure. I mean, there was some excitement in the air anytime you start conference play. And the young ladies were very excited, and the fans seemed to be as well. So we were very pleased with the and of the fan support. Game-wise, it was a tough loss for us, but we learned a lot from that game. Some encouraging things that were positive. We finally got our defensive rotations down. That's been a problem area for us in the early season. A lot of effort, but in terms of because we play a lot of assignment basketball on defense, and so during this game we actually got our assignments down, which was reflective of us holding that team down. 20 points below their average.
Yeah, it really was. And Claflin would jump out to a 16-9 lead at the end of the first quarter. But the Lady Vikings will fight back in the second quarter with a focus on getting the ball inside.
Sure.
Devo would rack up about 9 first-half points, and ECSU led Claflin 22-20 at the half. It seemed like there was a lot more effort put into getting the ball down low, whether it was by high-low or just getting it down on the block. It seemed like in this game it was a high priority for our team to get it in the paint as much as possible.
Well, it was for this game, but that's the way we play basketball. We're an inside-out team, certainly with her. And then we were fortunate enough to get Natira Luster back off of the knee injury. And she just worked her way into the game and showed her talent by doing other things to help us. She assists the ball very well. And as you stated, we ran the high-low with she and Devo, with Luster being at the high post.
That's right.
Because typically she's on the low block. So we hope that tandem, we feel that can be the best tandem in our league. Yeah. So we're hoping that they get the continuity together. The tier gets back in the flow. And we get ready for conference play next week.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about this earlier. Claflin turned the ball over 13 times in that first half, which led to a few fast break points. You said it before, but were you pretty pleased with the defensive effort from the team?
Yes. That should be the staple of what we do. We're a defensive ball club first. So just to see the improvement, because that's what we were looking for. Anytime you have a new group, because we basically have Devo and Jaylen returning who played last year. The rest of our group, they're new players. So they're learning the system, they're learning the rotations, they're learning the assignments. And, we saw that come together a little bit this past game. Unfortunately for us, the thing that we have been doing well so far this year, we didn't do well, which is score the ball. Up to this game, we were like third in our league, averaging over 70 points a game. And that was the lowest output for us during the season. So that was unfortunate because we didn't get all those turnovers and turn them into baskets.
That's right.
We missed some easy shots in the first half. Could have easily been up double digits.
I believe so, too. Coach Johnson, same for you. I mean, you saw the defensive effort they put forth, especially in the first half. You were pretty pleased with what you saw also.
Very pleased. Totally super excited for our starting point guard, Danae Holmes. Yeah. She had a very well-disciplined defensive game that sparked us, and that was exciting to see because that's something that she's been working on.
Yeah, and as the game continued, ECSU would extend the lead to 7 before Claflin turned up the defensive pressure, scoring 11 points off of 12 ECSU turnovers. Coach, I know you don't like that stat. That's way too many turnovers, and it had a major impact on this game.
We've been working on that area as well. Our turnover goal each game is 15 and below.
Okay.
We had 21 this game, which certainly is a few over what we would like. So we got to learn to have some patience. One of our downfalls as a group is it's a blessing and it's a curse. We actually have a very good passing team. We actually we second in our league in assists per game. But what happens sometimes when we can pass, we hold the basketball too long. It gets stuck. And we call it seeking out assists as opposed to getting the basketball moved, especially early in the shot clock. You got to get it reversed and be a little patient. So sometimes we get a little impatient and we try to make plays too soon. And against good teams, that we'll turn the ball over sometimes like that. So that's something we're working on. But we think we'll solve that.
Well, Coach, even with the turnovers, the game stayed tight down the stretch.
Sure.
A layup by ECSU junior forward Natira Luster tied the game at 45 with about 1 minute and 30 to go.
Sure.
A couple of missed opportunities by the Lady Vikings to go up by maybe 2. And Claflin came down with the rebound, called a timeout right around the 10-second mark. At this time, when they called the timeout, the Vikings just coming off a chance to take a lead there. What was said to the team in that timeout, especially with Claflin having the ball and could hold it for the final shot?
Sure. What we wanted to do was just be disciplined within our defense. At minimum, just force them to make a shot to win the game. And actually, we did a good job. We didn't allow any penetration. We forced a tough three-pointer from about 23 feet. And what we told them in the timeout is once we rebound, let's call timeout, because we can get the ball at half court now. Probably we can try to run something real quick. Did a good job of getting the rebound, but just didn't secure it. You have to give the young lady for Claflin a lot of credit.
That's right.
For coming in and making a play, getting the ball away from us, actually. And making a miraculous fall away, falling on the floor, bank shot from the free throw line. This time expired.
That's pretty much what happened.
So you have to give them credit for making that play.
Yeah, and you brought that up. Deja Dickens is the one who missed the three-pointer, and Ashley Fields somehow got that ball, threw it back up at the buzzer.
She's a great player, great kid too.
Claflin pulled it out 47-45. Coach, we hear it all the time, box out.
Sure.
And this is a great example of how important rebounding can be.
Certainly. And in the case this time, it was a matter of us not chinning the ball up, which is another fundamental. We did a good job of rebounding, but we had the ball over our head as opposed to chinning it up. Yeah. So fundamentals always come to play throughout the game, and it showed. Yeah. So, but again, we'll fix that, and we'll be ready for the next one.
Coach Johnson, I'm going to bring this to you. After the game, a tough loss like that, I'm always the type of person that says I probably would rather lose by 10 or 20 as opposed to losing like that, because you had a chance to win that game. That game could have went to you just as easily as it went to them. What was the morale of the team? How was the conversations in the locker room after that game?
The morale was we let that one slip away.
Yeah.
It was our game on our home court. Learning experience, move on, learn from it, and let's improve.
The Lady Vikings dominated the points in the paint 34-16 and had another strong effort from Stell, who had a double-double, 18 points, 16 boards. Coach, were you pleased with the effort overall in that game?
Sure. Effort-wise, very good. I would say one of our better efforts as a whole. I thought from top to bottom, each individual stepped on the court, gave a tremendous effort. And that's what we're looking for. Because once we give that effort overall, then everything else will fall into place for us. Yeah. So we're looking to continue that through the next game and through the rest of the season.
Senior Jaylen Brown chipped in 10 points for the Vikings in that game. One stat that stood out to me, Coach, for during this game was the bench scoring. We only got about 4 points off the bench for ECSU. Is that a little concerning for you and Coach Johnson and the rest of the coaching staff?
Sure, you always look for a little punch there, and that's, again, an area that has been a strong point for us thus far. Those points that we're missing were generally bench points. So we've been getting that. So hopefully that's just an aberration and not the norm, which it hasn't been thus far this year. We've gotten good bench points and we've scored the ball. So we'll try to get back on track next game.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of the next game, our Lady Vikings will take a 4-4 record into Virginia Beach this Saturday in a contest against Regent. Now, I'm sure that name is a little unfamiliar to our listeners, at least from an athletics standpoint. So I'll let you all speak about this. And Coach Johnson, I'll let you talk about this too. Tell us a little bit more about Regent and about this matchup too.
Well, as Coach Davis stated previously, that it is a first-year program for them. But they're hungry. They're going to want to, protect their home court. And we need to go there and handle business. So we're looking for a great matchup. We're looking for a great game. And we're looking for our young ladies to rebound off of the loss to Claflin.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, too. I mean, to come off of the loss to Claflin and then have a game, coming up Saturday. It doesn't take very long to get right back on track. And, Coach, we talked about this on the last show. Can't overlook any team.
Absolutely
non-conference, conference doesn't really matter. You want to grow, and this is one of those opportunities.
Yes. We respect all opponents. We fear none, but we respect all opponents.
That's right.
So we go into each game with that mindset. Yeah, and it won't be any different Saturday.
ECSU will return home to the Vaughn Center for 3 straight games next week, starting with Shaw on Thursday, St. Augustine's on Saturday, and Fayetteville State on December 17th. Important games ahead, and Coach Shaw is 2-4 heading into that game with a couple of players averaging, over 17 points per game right now. So, again, we just talked about it. Can't take any team lightly, especially within the conference.
Absolutely. And the tradition of Shaw University and women's basketball within the CIAA. So, they're the top dog over the past 20 years. Virginia Union has picked it up here recently. However, that tradition is what it is. Coach Curtis does a tremendous job with that group. So they'll be hungry. I personally know and coach some of those players. So they're going to be excited coming in here to play against us. So we're looking forward to that challenge. And, it's conference time, and we've got 3 in a row, so we take it one at a time. So we're definitely looking forward to Shaw coming in town.
Well, Coach, before we wrap things up, I want to give all of our listeners an injury report. And we talked about Teasy being back out there on the court, and that's a wonderful thing for our Lady Vikings. Obviously, she's not at 100% yet, but give us an update on her progress and any other injuries our team is dealing with.
Sure. Natira Lester was injured a few games ago against Barton. Had a knee injury, so we were waiting to see. We were blessed, and it was just a minor strain in the patella. In the meniscus. So she came back last game, trying to get comfortable.
Got it. Yeah.
But she's a good all-around player. Actually, our leading scorer and rebounder, even with the missed time. So we think she's one of the better players in our league. So we're looking forward to her getting back in the fold, and then again, her and Devo combining for a good 1-2 punch in the paint. So she's back. She's moving. Looking good, working hard in practice. Another wonderful young lady, I may add. Does everything we ask her to do. Yeah. Great leader force. So we look for her to come back and get it going again. Other than that, we really don't have any injuries thus far, so we'll knock on wood.
Yeah, blessed.
And hopefully stay healthy for the season and just get better. Yeah. Looking forward to getting better as a group.
Yeah. So, again, that game against Shaw is scheduled to tip off at 5:30 in the Vaughn Center. You can get tickets and more information online at ECSUVikings.com. I've enjoyed this. Coach Davis and Coach Johnson, I tell you what, you got to come back. I mean, we got more to talk about. So.
Would love to come back. It's indeed a pleasure to be in your presence.
I want to thank you both for talking Lady Vikings basketball with us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure.
Sounds good. And listeners, don't forget, if you want to hear this and past editions of Vikings Coaches Show, you can listen anytime on the WRVS 89.9 YouTube channel. For Coach Davis, Coach Johnson, and Coach Walker, I'm Clay Mercer. Thank you for listening to Vikings.